Welcome to the In the Box podcast. I'm your host, Jeff, and today we try to make some sense out of the insanity that is tabletop role playing game YouTube. I recently had the pleasure of sitting through not one, but two videos decrying, oh my gosh, I have too many tabletop role-playing games. And oh no, I had to playtest games and I had to sit through these games and oh my gosh, what do I do? Let me tell you something. If your whole conclusion is going to be just play Dungeons and Dragons or just play Pathfinder, don't bother making a video on it because it ain't gonna do you no good. If you want to get somewhere, you want to talk about a lot of role-playing games, and you want to talk about stealing all these mechanics and borrowing just little tiny bits and pieces out of every game. And again, what are you doing even? I mean, yes, definitely beg, borrow, and steal as many role-playing game ideas as you can from other games. Lord knows I do it all the time. Somewhere around here, I even still have my GURPS stuff, like all of my GURPS books. And there's high tech, ultra tech, various countries, martial arts, which was contributed to by my good friend, the OGGM, and just so many other books for GURPS that really provide excellent reference for other games. I mean, and let me just come from the point of I've been at this for about 40 years now, actually a little over 40 years now. I still can't honestly say I have too many games. I don't think there's such a thing. I think the idea is folly. If you have a game on your shelf and you don't want it, you have so many options available to you as to what you can do. You can sell it. You can give it away. You can send it to me. Contact me on social media if you get an extra game you want to give away. I'll talk to you about it. But, take it to a convention, give it away as a grab bag gift, or give them away for a charity auction. Oh my goodness. And if it's a PDF, Lord knows I have an entire file full of what I call dead games. It's not that they are necessarily bad. It's just that mechanically they don't have a lot going on and their setting is kind of wishy-washy wobbly, like generic setting. And I've got some really good games that I've found from completely independent producers, companies, whatever you want to call them, that I absolutely love. And to this day will still, if somebody mentioned it and wanted to run a game of it, I would totally be down for running it. There isn't a single game in my collection, as far as my physical collection goes, that I wouldn't happily run for somebody. There are just so many games out there, and if your whole thing in life is, oh, I just want to go back to playing 5e because that's what I learned on. It's the easiest system. No, 5e is kind of the opposite of easy. 5e is more of the slightly overcomplicated vanilla of role-playing games. It just there's like so many issues with that, and especially 5.5e.2024, whatever we're calling it. Some people call it sixth, which it's technically not, but or 5.5 or whatever you want to call it. That 5e D&D stuff is just atrocious. As far as like the game design of it. Now, as far as like settings and stuff, yeah, but I mean, I can write a generic setting for anything. I can just put out a generic setting for what it's worth. I mean, Lord knows I have enough campaigns and campaign ideas and cool things I've come up with over the years that I could totally just put out generic fantasy setting, blah de blah, and have it sell. I mean, maybe not amazing, but it would still sell. And that's what a lot of these D&D settings to me, that's kind of what they represent. But as far as actual games, like every game, if it's not a generic universal game like Fate, GURPS, Cypher, what am I forgetting? There's like a couple of other big ones, but D&D 5e is kind of like that, but also when you get D&D, you also get all the fantasy engine stuff and all that other kind of hoo-ha that comes with D&D and an open game license that, yeah, okay, it's in the public domain, but Wizards of the Coast can still get all kinds of squirrely with it. Don't put it past them. That's what I always say anyway. So if it's not a generic universal system of some kind, sorry, I'm just kind of looking at my shelves and I have a cat crawling up the back of my chair currently. But if it's not a generic universal system, oh, Cortex, there's another good universal system. What's New is, you've got the What's New is series of books from EN World. You've got a lot of things, like I say, that take 5e. Oh, yes. Yes. That's what I was forgetting. The probably best kept secret when it comes to universal role-playing games is the basic role-playing universal game engine from Chaosium. It's the D100 system that powers Call of Cthulhu, and you can literally throw anything at it that you can possibly think of. And it is an awesome game. It can run so many genres. I've never had major problems with it. I will say I've done some things to streamline it. Like, I know some people look at the character sheet for Cthulhu or BRP and they're just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Oh, this is so hard. No, it's not. Like, I bet if I sat down with you, we could have a character put together in less than half an hour, maybe even less than 20 minutes. And that's assuming you're wanting to write backgrounds and all that good stuff up. I mean, I've got dozens of ways of generating a background for a character in just about any world. If nothing else, I have these old legends of fantasy books that allow me, they're just a giant background generator and they're all kinds of fun. Back to my point at hand, there's still no such thing as too many RPGs. I mean, even if you stole the character generation system out of, let's say, Traveler, there's a really good example, or Shadow World or Rollmaster, where you can like die in character creation and all this other stuff. Like, it gets pretty crazy. Even if you've borrowed that, that game has value. Like, keep that on your shelf if you're going to use it. And I mean, I'll admit, like, I own way, way more games than I probably reasonably should. Like, I'm definitely not a minimalist by any stretch of the imagination. It's just one of those things where, like, I find value in just about every game I pick up, or I go, ugh, maybe I shouldn't have picked that up. But more often than not, it's stuff that I wanted to pick up, and it's stuff that I'll get some kind of value out of. If nothing else, like, I got these games where it's like, oh well, I've learned my lesson. Okay, this system does not work like this, or it's a system I've seen like 30 times, and I should have passed on it had I been paying attention. But I can still get some value out of it somewhere, even if it's just to learn that less. Again, going back to this whole silly notion of I have too many games. Oh my gosh, I had to play test. You know what? I'll gladly do a play test for somebody. Here, throw me a play test. Like, seriously, like, I have no problem play testing a document. I have no problem proofreading a document. I have no problem with people creating their own systems and asking me to take a look at them. And it just flabbergasts me that a dungeon tuber would go on the air on YouTube and talk about, well, here's the game I wrote, but it looks like D20. Here's this other game I wrote, but it looks like Shadow Dark. Here's this other thing I did that looks like this other cute little D6 game I just mentioned. It's like, dude, I applaud your creativity and all, but like, if your whole conclusion is just play my game or just play D&D, you know what? I can get it. I can go on here and I can say, just play Dragonbane. And believe me, I try to quite a bit because it's a really fun roll under system that works so well for fantasy, and really no complaints. I've actually thought about making a space game. I don't know if the nice people at Free League are going to let that fly or not, just without causing some kind of weird open license issues. The point being is we're just here to have fun with this stuff, guys. If you don't want to run it, if you don't want to play it, don't play it. Don't run it. I don't know why this is hard. Go through 40 games and say to a bunch of them that really do work. And again, if you don't want them, call me, dude. I'll take them. Like, I saw some stuff go by in that stack that I actually kind of have some interest in now. And again, I'm trying not to name and shame the dungeon tuber in question, but let's just say it's somebody that I've taken issue with in the past and will probably take issue with again. I'm not going to put his picture up or anything. I'm not even going to link to his channel, but let's just say he's pretty well known. Thousands upon thousands of subscribers, more than I have, that's for darn sure. Which, yeah, good for him. I'm glad he's making money, and I'm glad he's making money putting out videos going, this game was kind of boring, but, I'm just going to go play D&D, or I'm just going to go play Shadow Dark, or I'm just going to go play D&D again. I mean, don't get me wrong, D20 system from back in the day, from D&D 3.5 or 3.0 or wherever it started, that's cool. Like, D20 Modern, I have a whole pile of stuff somewhere in around here in this man cave that I'm sitting in currently, aka the game box, that I'm sitting in currently, that I wrote tons of stuff for D20 Modern. Mecha games, cyberpunk games, modern military games, spy games. Oh my gosh, Spycraft. Oh, y'all don't realize that, if you've started gaming in about the last 10 years, you probably haven't even heard of it. But Spycraft was one of the most just absolutely fabulous games ever created. Actually, I gotta say, Alderac Entertainment was one of the best game companies in the whole world until they broke up. The band decided to break up because, yeah, the drummer went one way with L5R, and everybody else went their separate ways with, Legend of the Burning Sands and Savage Worlds and Spycraft, Crafty Games. Oh, please come back, Crafty Games. I miss you. Um, but it's just it's mind-boggling to me that somebody who's only got 10 years of experience in TTRPGs can say there's too many games. Or somebody that started out on 5e is saying there's too many games. Dude, you have no idea. Okay, I can go back into the 80s and 90s and even the early 2000s and find stuff and just be like, oh man, where has this been all my life? Heck, Dragonbane, which is probably debatably my favorite game in the whole wide world now, was one of those that it's like, oh my God, 30 years went by and I didn't even notice this thing. And then it came back about in English, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, where's this game been all my life? This thing actually works." And it's a good fantasy game, and the statistics are uncomplicated, and it does so many things. I was just astounded. Like, how do you come up with a game this good and have it go by under the radar? Well, part of the reason is because the elephant in the room being Dungeons and Dragons and all the people making noise about Dungeons and Dragons. And Lord knows I have all my 4E stuff. I was big into 4E at the time. Still kind of like 4E, and I still pilfer from those books occasionally. Yeah, like there's so many games out there, and to say that there's too many is just ridiculous. Like that is just what a psychologist of mine, friend of mine, said was stinking thinking. You can't have too many games, and you can't say there are too many games. And if you think there are too many games, well, like I said, feel free to sell, give away, whatever, delete, whatever makes you happy. I guess it's your collection. You do what you want with it. I'm not going to tell you you're doing it wrong. But at the same time, go through 40 games. I bet I could go through 40 games right here off my shelf. I can find something I love about each and every one of them. Like I have yet to really, like I say, it's kind of like the old what is it, the Boys and Girls Club, Boys Club had that saying that there was no such thing as a bad kid. In my world, there's really no such thing as a bad tabletop role playing game. So party on. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us own games that we will probably never run or play. For some of us, it's nostalgia. Like I keep all my old DC and Marvel stuff around because it's nostalgia. I keep Mutants and Masterminds around because it's nostalgia, and it's the superheroes game. And Silver Age Sentinels, same thing. And one of my favorite games of all time, probably in my top 10, if not my top 5, is a little game that most people probably don't remember called Cosmic Enforcers. It's the same company that made a game called Manhunter, and both of them are just amazing. And that was before like Manhunter crossed over to Rifts. The Rifts Manhunter crossover was amazing. But yeah, I mean, sure, I've got games I'm probably never going to get a chance to run. Personally, I'd almost like to get back into the World of Darkness games, but my last edition of World of Darkness was when White Wolf was still viable as a company and making their own product. Now I hear they're back, but and good for them. Well, I think Vampire the Requiem was the last Vampire I bought. Yeah, probably. And Damnation City and the Chronicler's Guide are still on my shelf where I can grab them easily because they are so awesome when it comes to building cities for other games, superhero games, and modern settings and all this other stuff. Like there's so much value in learning other games, buying other games, learning other mechanics besides D20 and besides, some goofball crackball D12 thing that some guy cooked up that doesn't even work and he fully admitted it didn't work. And I won't necessarily name who it was or what it was, but let's just say that if you don't have faith in your own mechanics, go back and fix them before you print it, or go back and put out an errata because you should know better. I mean, that's game design 101. If it ain't working, don't use it. Go back and make it so that it does work. If you're just relying on some big name, cough Matt Mercer, cough cough, to sell your product, and yet the thing's not very viable as a game, you ain't got a game. You've got, well, I guess I'd call it literature at that point. I don't know even what you'd call it. But yeah, if it's not viable as a game and you're expecting me to fix it for you, that ain't going to happen. Just because I own so many freaking games, it's like, oh, your system doesn't work? Here, let me just port all your stuff over to Fate. Done. Yay, easy mode. Or let me port your stuff over to Index Card RPG, or let me port your stuff over to Cypher, or let me, And again, like when it comes to mechanics, there is not a single game mechanic out there that's too complicated or too icky or sticky or what. I forget what he said now, but it's like, dude, you Cypher is one of the easiest games in the world to grasp. It's a D20 game. And yet I see I don't know how many people stumbling over Cypher, and it's just not that hard, you know. And I like Twilight Sword. I know we don't have it in front of us yet, but from what I've seen of the cat system, it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of good mechanics there. It's a D12 mechanic, and again, you have kind of the similarities. We have similarities to Daggerheart and some other games. There's another one I want to mention too. I mean, Daggerheart. I know some people jumped on that bandwagon really hard and are still flogging that bandwagon, flogging that Daggerheart. But I think there's going to come a day here in the very, very near future where that just comes to a screaming halt, and Daggerheart becomes uninteresting to people because there'll either be a new edition of Daggerheart, like already within the first year or two, or they'll just move on to the next big shiny. And there's been, some dungeon tubers with $3.2 million Kickstarters that like to cry about AI and people using AI. And I know I've kind of harped on this in the previous podcast, and I keep harping on this. $3.2 million Kickstarter, dude. Worry about your $2 million Kickstarter, and don't worry about me using AI for anything. Period. It's none of your concern. Ain't your fish, ain't your pond. Okay, go back and fish in your own pond. I don't need you over here. But I mean, oh my gosh, too many role playing games, guys. Again, look outside of D&D. Do not let these corporate do I use the word? Do I say it? Do I say it? Yeah. Don't let these corporate shills convince you that there's only one way to game. Because if you're convinced there's only one way to game, you might want to look a little further than what you're already playing, which is probably D&D anyway. Oh my gosh, there is so much to life outside of D&D. Go out there, read, explore, learn, have a good time. Play in as many convention games as you can get into, even if it's somebody's weird homebrew, half-baked system, if it's a genre you're familiar with, or if it's something you're interested in, just jam on it. Because, I mean, life is short not to be playing as many games as we can get into, or as many games as we can run. And I've been known to pick up a convention game and run it with a book that I got like an hour previous and thought, man, this looks really cool. Let's try it out. And if the mechanics aren't too buggy and weird, it's usually a pretty smooth first run. It's just a matter of getting through that character generation. That's like that seemingly is the biggest challenge with just about any role playing game in the world. Go out, have fun, enjoy life. If you like what I'm saying here, do that whole YouTube thing, subscribe to the like button, all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you in the next one.